Thanks for joining us again. Christmas period, Jared. We threw out a couple of options that we might want to cover, or we actually spoke about what might be on Tubi, and there was nothing. And so we chose tonight's film.
Yeah.
You were not super keen.
No,
that way.
I mean, I tossed it out there, but I was like, I've resisted for a long time, but we seem to have hit the point where maybe this is the go.
It's Silent Night.
That being said, I think Christmas Evil was on Tubi, which is a far better movie, but we decided against that one and thought this would be better.
Yeah, I know. So we have made mistakes in the past.
Yes.
This is another one of them.
Continue
so let's get to we'll get to that in a minute. What have you been watching since we last recorded?
Put a few bits and pieces under the belt. I think I mentioned to you last time that I watched the In Search of the Last Action Hero doco, so I started looking for a few bits and pieces from that.
Yep.
The first one being, after a bit of Cynthia Rothrock, I shouldn't say the first one, the next one being Die Hard again.
I watched Die Hard.
My son actually expressed a bit of interest in watching it, so I was like, yeah, let's check it out. So we watched Die Hard again, just magic. Also got up to Die Hard 2.
I'm going to do a back-to-back of pre-Christmas.
Yeah. My son advised me that Sadler was no Hans Gruber.
Oh, no.
After the second.
No, you know what? If my recollections are correct, that's Die Hard 2's biggest problem. Because it's not on par quite in terms of action and plotting, but it's still damn good.
Yeah.
Except for Sadler.
Yeah, and I think, like, there still seems to be this perception that there's a massive drop-off between 1 and 2. I don't think there is.
No.
I think 2, I love 2.
Yeah, I think 2 is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was good fun. Not so much fun was that same film sparked a little bit of interest in watching the Universal Soldier movies, Adam. The first one that I jumped on was Universal Soldier: The Return.
Oh, is that the one with Michael Jai White?
Yeah.
Poor old Michael Jai White being forced into such poop.
Well, unfortunately, the stupid thing is they take fucking forever. I mean, he starts as like the computer. So for the first half of the movie, it's only his voice. I'm like, why do you put Jai White in there and then take fucking 45 minutes to get him actually get Michael Jai White in the picture kicking some ass?
Yeah.
So
mistake.
Yeah. The worst thing about it is Goldberg. He still seems to think he's in a wrestling ring. Like when he gets hit, he starts throwing the arms up in the air and going, yeah, like growling and shit. And I'm like, dude, it's a sort of a different skill set, isn't it? Like you don't need 40,000 people to see that you've been hit or anything like that.
Did Goldberg go on to any level of movie stardom?
No. I think this and Santa's Sleigh were probably his peak.
Oh, shit. If that's your peak, you should give it away. He was kind of like your Macho Man Randy Savage type of, second or third tier.
Yeah, but Macho's got Spider-Man.
I know, but not he fucking in the fight. Come on. Don't give me that. Anyone who turns to me and says, Macho Man Randy Savage was in Spider-Man, I say, get off it. Whatever it is you're on, get off it. He did it for 2 seconds.
It's fantastic. 2 seconds.
He's not
it's quality, not quantity.
It's neither him.
I mean, Bonesaw's right next to fucking Thunderlips.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's still doing that shtick.
I mean, I shouldn't be... Funnily enough, I saw a clip of Macho Man just this morning.
Oh, my God.
All that's going through my head is him sitting there going, ooh, I'm here for one reason, to take it to the limit, baby. What are we doing, Macho?
Drugs.
Lots of them. Anyway, back to more sensible things. I watched Martial Law 2.
More sensible pictures.
More sensible pictures.
Is that Ross Rock?
Ross Rock.
That's what Ross Rock, but it hasn't got McQueen.
But McQueen's been replaced by Jeff Wincott.
Okay, fellas, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Chad McQueen, not
Steve McQueen. Not Steve McQueen. We're talking Chad McQueen. And we're not talking Michael Wincott. We're talking his brother, Jeff Wincott, who's a better martial artist. And to be fair, he's a better actor than Chad McQueen is too.
Oh, yeah. Chad McQueen was fucking terrible.
So I've got to say...
Chad McQueen Was he really Steve McQueen's brother? Or son?
Son, wasn't he?
Son.
But
Fucking brother.
Jeff Wincott is Michael Wincott's brother.
Michael Wincott. Much better.
No, but I've got to give Jeff Wincott some fucking due because he's actually not bad. And he's gone into, like, his most recent work, his acting work. He's been in shit like Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Not kicking asses.
See, this was a problem. Rothrock couldn't act. Could fight, though.
Yeah,
Fuck,
she can.
Could fight.
There's a lot of spinning. There's a lot of spin kicks and roundhouses and shit. I seem to be seeing a lot of spinning from Rothrock.
Yeah, but that was it. Was that a martial law thing, or was that a just generally?
Across the board. Every time I've seen her, there's lots of spins.
Well, she's fucking physically.
She can
fucking
handle
very
it.
good.
I'm not questioning the credentials. I think she just learned a lot about. Maybe she talked to Chuck Norris about what she should be doing on camera, and he's talking roundhouse, baby, roundhouse.
And then when you get the opportunity to kick the shit out of the devil, you do it.
Yeah. But Martial Law 2, actually quite enjoyed it. I probably liked it better than the first one.
Better than the first one.
Down the line story. I mean, you can see it from a mile off.
The first one didn't have Demon in it. It had, what's the guy's name in part 8?
Oh, Julius.
Nothing. This guy.
Yes.
Best part of a ton of a movie.
Yep. So I watched a bit of Honour and Glory too, which was fucking. It's a shocker.
Where did you find this stuff?
Well, that was on Tubi. I think Cynthia Rothrock actually described Honour and Glory as awful.
Well, that's never good.
I believe it was made by a bloke whose specialty was getting English speaking actors. I think he worked in the Hong Kong market.
Game.
And I think his specialty was getting English actor or English speaking actors and names and shooting a bunch of scenes and then fucking using those scenes in multiple movies.
Okay. So he was Jared? He was a fucking very shrewd businessman.
Exactly. The bloke knew how to stretch a dollar. I'll tell you that much.
Charles Band could learn a thing or two.
Yeah. Charlie Band probably has done. Well, I know he's. Charlie Band just used to change the names of movies and re-release them.
Well, that's low budget filmmaking for you. Holy shit.
But yeah, it's
shocking film.
It's shocking. I actually watched it with the Riff Tracks commentary, which certainly made things highly entertaining. But it's fucking laughable. And Rothrock, for some reason, is fucking sidelined. She's like the second. She's one of a pair of sisters, and the other sister is like the lead and does martial arts as well, but not as well as Rothrock. So I don't know what they were doing there.
Yeah, what they were thinking.
But I mean, to put it into perspective, the movie begins with this sister reporting in Washington. She's a news reporter and she's reporting a story. And this woman walks along in the background and goes, "Hey, you remember my dad, the senator? You put him away for saying that." Essentially, it comes down to he said something and she's fucking got him locked up. So this woman fucking pulls out a knife and takes a martial arts stance in the middle of the street to attack the reporter. It's on. And I'm just sitting there going, what's going on here? Like, that sets the tone for the type of picture that we're working with.
Good.
But I would recommend if you got Tubi and you got Riff Tracks on there, just fucking have a look. It's a bit of a laugh. Also watched. Again, my son's got into the Court of Owls from Batman, so we watched Batman and Robin, which is one of the animated DC ones.
Oh, God, I thought you were saying the actual film.
No. Sorry, Batman vs. Robin. I couldn't do Batman. I'll probably do it again in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, you would.
Nightmare Before Christmas kicked off the Christmas viewing, the family Christmas viewing.
Yeah, that's all right.
Good fun. I like that one. It's got a bit of I would consider it almost gateway sort of shit. It's got a bit of horror tinged elements in there.
Yeah.
I watched Operation Flagrant Foul, Adam, the doco on Netflix about Tim Donaghy.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good. I think the best thing about this one, because I listened to a podcast that was centred around Donaghy and his mate, who's a bit of a fucking lunatic. To put it into perspective, this guy talks about how he's always been a little bit of a troublemaker, or a little bit loose. He's always kind of had the urge to do things that were a bit silly. And one of the first things he says is, when I was in first grade, I saw a bird shit on a pole, and I thought I need to taste that bird shit. And I'm sitting there going, okay.
Yeah, well, that's more than just being a bit loose.
Yeah, you don't need to tell us this. I don't think this describes anything about how you got into sports gambling. But
well, I'd like to ask that question: how did they get into? Was there mob ties? Was there anything like that?
I've heard all the stories about it. It sort of started. Well, I believe Donaghy that he started just by telling a mate. I can tell you who's on the rest crew and who does this and that. I can tell you who's going to be making bank on these ones. And then a guy that he used to know who does have mob ties got hold of it and basically approached him and said, "You're going to give them to me." And that guy is also in there, and he's a liar. You can't trust anything he says either. But I do believe the one part that Donaghy says is when the middle mate, the bloke that eats bird shit, went to the bathroom.
Forever known as shit eater.
He was the connection. Yeah. The shit eater was friends with Donaghy and friends with the other bloke, but they weren't friends with each other.
Right.
And so he kind of
Sorry. Shit eater was
shit eater. He's got too many friends for a bloke who eats shit. I'm not
Shit eater was friends with Donaghy?
Yep.
And also friends with the mob guy?
Mm-hmm.
But Donaghy wasn't friends with the mob guy?
No. And basically, yeah, this other guy that Donaghy was talking to was making bank. This is the way he explains it. So this other fella, Batista.
Hang on. Shit eater, who's...
Shit eater's mate.
Is shit eater making bank?
Shit eater's Donaghy's best mate.
Shit eater
was kind of just fucking floating around. Shit eater was not... I don't think he was making the money off it. But yeah, he's in the middle. He says he went to the bathroom at the dinner when he connected him, and he reckons the other bloke, Batista, said to Donaghy... Well, Donaghy says when shit eater went to the bathroom, Batista said to me, it'd be a shame if your family got hurt because you didn't hand over tips.
Yeah, okay.
Basically. So Donaghy said he threatened his life. Batista says, "Nah, I never did that. I'm not the sort of guy to do that." It's like, you really seem like you are.
So hang on.
So that's how it came onto the FBI's radar.
So hang on. Shit eater went to the bathroom in a restaurant.
Probably looking for some shit to eat because the restaurant food wasn't palatable enough. I don't know.
While he was in the toilet having a feast, those two connected, and the fucking bloke.
He connected him at the dinner, but he can't say whether he was threatened or not because both. Donaghy says that happened when old mate went looking for his dinner. But anyway, so what it comes down to.
And then Batista says, "I didn't threaten him."
Yeah. The most interesting part, because I've listened to the podcast, which was from mainly centred around Donaghy and shit eater. The best thing about this is you had the other people speaking, including the agent that fucking interrogated Donaghy and took him down.
Yeah.
And his form is, and Donaghy sticks to it, he says, "I never fixed games. I just tipped. I just knew the referees, I knew their habits, I knew who didn't like who." And, they bring up Scott Foster, who everyone says Donaghy was calling before and after games. And Scott Foster's the bloke who, if Chris Paul's playing in the game, you can guarantee that Chris Paul's team's going to get a shit run of the whistle. He's got a shockingly bad record in games with Scott Foster's refereeing, but he's still an NBA ref. And what they come to is that at the end, this is the most important part of the doco, at the end of it, they get into, did David Stern make some of it go away and pin it on Donaghy because he didn't want any more of bad press?
Yeah.
And this is what Batista says, "I told my lawyer, you stick to your guns, otherwise, Stern's going to have to, I'm going to fucking make him bring everyone out. You're going to have to talk to all the referees." Lo and behold, the next day, we're done with it. And so they bring up, and look, from what I've heard from David Stern, I would believe that he did not want any more of this going on. So perhaps he did kind of push some other things aside. But they essentially said, the agent said, "We're not going to tell the NBA. We want to keep investigating because there's probably more." And I mean, fuck. They bring up the old Sacramento game, the Sacramento Lakers, Game 6, 2002.
You cannot tell me there was something dusty there.
Absolutely.
Not something dusty there. I mean, holy shit, they got 17 free throws in the final quarter, and
more than that,
Sacramento got none.
Yeah. And the calls are just shocking. And so it's kind of like, yeah, you believe that there may have been more to it because essentially, I mean, I love Shaquille O'Neal. Was never the biggest Kobe fan, but those guys got another championship on their legacy basically around that game. Sacramento won that fucking game. Yeah, basically.
In anybody's language, they should have won that game.
Yeah.
But the referees paraded LA to the line. Yeah. And you can't tell me, Jared, going for a little bit of conspiracy here, that David Stern didn't want that to happen.
Well, he's been quoted. He was quoted in the media saying his dream NBA Finals matchup is Lakers versus Lakers. Essentially saying they are the biggest game in town. If they're on TV, we're selling more merch, we're doing all that sort of stuff.
So he's happy to turn a blind eye to some shocking refereeing that gets the Lakers into an NBA Finals.
Yeah.
This is the thing about Stern. Great businessman, ran the
put the league on top.
Yes, no doubt. But fucking still some dicey shit in there.
Yeah,
don't you worry about that.
And I guess the best thing about it is if you haven't listened to the podcast, there is a lot of detail to fill in. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you probably don't know about what was going on.
Look, I don't think I'd trust Donaghy anyway.
I don't think
he's about as trustworthy as a $3 bill.
Yeah. But I think and he brings this up. They did do some kind of looks at his games and basically said if you go by what they deemed a correct call and not a correct call, he was pretty high up in terms of what he was calling correctly. But other people said, he said I can swing a game 6 points.
Yeah.
Which he probably could do while still being on those correct calls.
Okay.
And I mean, he talks about the night that they went to Denver and said, we know Allen Iverson carries the ball, but we never call him for it. I'm going to call it tonight. That to me is fixing a game, right?
Correct, yeah.
And so they show two possessions early on in the quarter. Allen Iverson, palm me. And so, yeah. And that's what the agent basically says. You can tell me till you blue in the face you didn't fix games. But if you know that you've given someone a tip, even subconsciously, you're fixing the game.
Yeah.
He's like, you've compromised your integrity, thus you are fixing a game. And that's where he stood with it.
Yeah.
And so they kind of, I would say if you know about the Tim Donaghy stuff and you're interested in it, and you haven't delved into those podcasts or into the articles or anything like that, you definitely watch it because it fills in some details. And you get to know a bloke who likes to eat bird shit quite closely.
Someone that we should all know.
I mean, what are you doing with your life if you don't have a friend that eats bird shit? Sounds ridiculous.
I wish I had someone still in my life who did that. But that was only happening back when I was a child.
Anyway,
was that all?
Moving on.
Got more.
I copped 8 hours of RoboCop.
The Prime Directive?
Yeah, I've been trying to watch Prime Directives for years because I managed to find,
Do you wish you had?
on DVD. Look, it's one of those things that couldn't possibly have lived up to wanting to have watched it for the last 15 years. It's a problem because what it is, it's made by the same people that made the TV show. So it's reasonably well done for when you consider the costs would have
had
to
be Canada, I believe.
Significantly
Canadian production.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy well enough the technological stuff. RoboCop, as far as I know, is still the same suit, but there's also another suit in there as well. But they take away some of the more comedic stuff. I think I told you, like, in the TV series, it started to go for like a younger audience or whatever. This one tries to get back into more of the kind of, but in doing that, the violence is still pretty much cut down. There's a lot of gunfights and shit, but the violence is lowered a little bit. But it's just fucking boring as batshit, unfortunately.
Nothing occurs.
Well, there's a couple of ideas. There's kernels. I mean, in 8 hours, you can hope there's a few kernels, but there's kernels where they just kind of, there's a couple of lines or there's talks between, they bring in Murphy's old partner. And there's a couple of lines between them that deal with kind of, the man machine, the law enforcement, all this sort of stuff. Where there's kernels of really good ideas there, but it just goes on forever and it's so mixed up. We've got shit going on at OCP that becomes somewhat confusing because it just goes on forever, and then we bring these other people into the mix from the outside, and then you got RoboCop and his shit going on. By the end of it, I was just like, oh, can we just wrap it up?
Did they wrap it? Or was it...
Yeah, they wrapped it up. It was 4 episodes, an hour and a half each. It was basically a mini-series sort of setup. Initially, the first 1 to 2, I was kind of like, yeah, this is going okay. But it just tapered off significantly, so I couldn't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Rim. For some reason, I got dragged into the Pacific Rim 1 and 2 again. My son wanted to check
I believe they're shocking, aren't they? Both of them.
They're not shocking. Like, they're fun enough, but they're very surface level kind of just robot bashing monster.
But it
could have been deeper. I mean, the cast is quality too. Like, your first one, you got Idris Elba, and you've got Ronnie Perlman showing up for a brief period. You got some good actors in there. And Pacific Rim Uprising, I think it was a little more sort of same old stuff, but I actually kind of enjoyed the characters a little more. John Boyega's in that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're fun enough.
Yep.
Reasonable fun. And the last one I watched, continuing the Christmas viewing, is I got onto Shudder and watched one called The Advent Calendar, which is a French picture. A French production.
Right.
I liked it. It's pretty dark in parts. It's about a girl who's in she's a paraplegic. And so they kind of go through parts of her life and how she got there and whatever, and then a friend brings her this advent calendar and it starts to kind of impact her life. Things are going on, like something will happen in the advent calendar and then something will happen in the life that these connections are coming to. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was about 100 minutes, I think. Didn't overstay its welcome.
All right, okay.
It didn't, what I like to call doing a fucking James Cameron.
No.
I haven't seen the sequel, but good lord, 3.5 hours.
We'll talk about that in a second.
I'm looking forward to it.
Talk about that in a second, but I had very little. I had In Search of the Action Heroes, that documentary that you put me onto.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyed it. Nothing that I didn't already know.
No.
But there's a real good group of people there that we all know and who provide the usual kind of quality of, you know, what they're about. In agreement with you, I think Cynthia Rothrock would have been perfect for the Expendables. I'm actually kind of surprised that wasn't somebody they potentially could have tapped because I think she would have been better suited to that as a side player, but part of the crew. You know, I think it would have worked out really nicely because she can do that shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Admittedly, she's a bit older.
She is, but she's still got the ability to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And the only other thing I watched, I went to the Sunset Cinema to watch Top Gun Maverick.
Just topping up the box office
time.
Just a little bit.
Yep. And I loved it as per usual.
Excellent. Good stuff.
I'm this close to getting it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Like, just for all the extra shit about how it was made.
Well, the extra fucking 6.5 hours that you didn't see.
Of shit that they did. So, yeah, very good. All right. You mentioned Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get serious here. They reckon $1.2 million to break even, I think it's, or to make a profit. So, sorry, $1 billion. $1.2 billion.
Yep.
So $1.2 billion to make a profit, right? So that's how much money this shit cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think the first Avatar is a quality picture.
Mm-hmm.
7 out of 10, I'd probably go. Looks beautiful. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt about it. From a 3D perspective, it was fantastic.
Which early signs say this is the similar sort of thing. Yeah.
And what they've done is they've stretched the technology even further. So James Cameron, you got to give the guy props. He knows how to make sort of crowd pleasing, big tentpole entertainment.
Yeah,
that's not Marvel or superheroes or the usual shit that seems to.
But let's face it, James. You take shots at Marvel, but Avatar's not far.
Yeah, it's not that far from it. Let's get straight about that.
Yeah,
3.5 hours is stretching anybody's ability to sit through something like that.
Adam, I'm going to need a fucking catheter. Next to me.
I'll have to take a bottle with me.
It's going to have to be a thirst taker. 3 litres.
I'll drink it first. and then fucking pee it back out. But I can't see this making a profit. I just can't.
Yeah.
Because to me, okay, Avatar's the biggest movie of all time. Correct?
Yep.
But 13 years have gone past. And I know there's room for this, but I think you've got two problems to make that kind of money. Okay? You've got the issue of middling reviews, or reviews that aren't as strong.
Positive,
but not outstanding.
Yeah.
And 3.5 hours means you can't put it in the cinemas as many times.
Yeah.
So you're hurting yourself by not being able to put more showings. So if it was 2 hours,
yeah,
you can punch out a lot more showings. And now that sounds like, that sounds very kind of like, oh, well, who cares about that? It's about money. This thing's about money. Like, at the end of the day...
Even Black Panther's only going, 2.5 hours? It's only just hit 770 worldwide off similarly really positive reviews coming off the back of a massive hit.
Yeah. So it's going to make less money than the first Black Panther.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Substantially less money.
Yep.
The first Black Panther broke $1 billion.
Yep.
This is going to make substantially less. Look at Black Adam. Black Adam's taking a bath.
Do we have to?
$50 to $100 million bath.
Yeah.
Like nobody... The Rock's the biggest star in the world, and this movie's going to lose $100 million. Right? So it just proves more and more that it's harder to go into the cinemas for big dollar unless you're a superhero property. Really, let's be honest.
I think it might be too late to return that Black Adam action figure that I purchased too. I jumped out early on that. I want my money back, but I don't think I can get it.
And I just feel like $1 billion, 1.3, 1.2, 1.3 billion to break even to get some profit.
I know
seems like it's too much.
I know it.
I reckon it'll do 500 million first week.
Yeah. It's not smart to doubt James Cameron's money-making ability.
No.
But how many times do you have to make the biggest movie in the world ever before
you fail? You fuck it up.
I mean, you're setting such a high mark that surely eventually you're going to fall short of that.
What I read was...
it's got to be like one of the top 3 or 4 grossing films ever to make it worthwhile. And I mean, I was listening to a podcast with his producing partner, and he spouted at one point, it's not all about the money. I'm sitting there going, well, fucking, quite frankly, it is, because if you miss the mark on this one, there's not going to be another 3.
Yeah.
I just... it's going to make money, but it's such a high bar that how much profit is it going to make is the question, I guess.
Well, if it hits the mark of the first film, which was $2 billion, I think, there's profit.
Yeah.
Like, it's good profit.
And apparently the first film was just a stayer. So, I don't know. Is that what this one's going to be? I think it's got a fairly broad market. I know, like, the kids want to check it out, and I'll go check it out. And I believe... Mr. Cameron's advised us you don't need to worry about when you take a piss because everyone's going to see it twice.
Is that what he said, is he?
Something along those lines.
James, I'm going to make it pretty clear to you right now. I'll be seeing it 0 times in the cinema.
I'm going to check it out at the cinema, but fuck, I can't do that twice. That's right. I've got to prepare for 3.5 hours.
Jared, that's 7 hours of my life. I could be doing something else with.
I've got to dry out the night before so I can at least get to the 1 hour mark.
Get all the diuretics, all sorts of shit beforehand. Yeah. I need to prep. Is this big?
It's like I'm going into a boxing match or something. I need to make sure everything's
prepare, get ready.
And if I'm not ready a couple of days out, I've just got to phone in and say I can't do it. I can't do it today.
You know what though? I also remember sort of coming out of the first movie and kind of thinking, it didn't really grip me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, it's just Fern Gully.
Well, here's the question, right? And it's quite interesting. I read something else yesterday that was talking about how it's a prime example of what they were calling a forget buster. Like, it made a shitload of money, but if you went and asked people the names of characters from Terminator 2, they can tell you. If you went and asked people what are some of the character names from Avatar, people just kind of go, I don't know.
Well, I can't remember them.
No, neither can I.
So I don't know. It's unwise to bet against him.
Yeah.
And he obviously takes his time and works hard to make his films as...
And aside from the length, I am looking forward to it because I do recall coming out of the first one and thinking, well, that was kind of exciting because they used 3D really well. It looked really, awesome. But I wasn't really blown away by the movie.
No, plot-wise or anything, it wasn't anything special. So it'll be just very interesting, Jared. Very interesting to see how this goes. All right, let's take a break. Here is the trailer for Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm.
Got something for me?
Let me tell you about Christmas. It ain't all candy canes and pretty lights. I heard this story. This fella dressed as Santa. He said about killing them. That was naughty.
Creep.
Every year, a new town.
Everyone knows that story. It's an urban legend.
It ain't.
Christmas. The number one holiday for people going nuts.
Listen, we've got a lead on our killer from the motel. He's wearing a Santa suit and a mask.
Hiding in plain sight.
What if he was punishing them?
We're just gonna have to take this maniac down ourselves.
Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year.
Silent Night from 2012, directed by Stephen C. Miller, who directed Escape Plan 2, Hades. It's produced by Shara Kay, who produced Cell, Phyllis Lang, who produced Mad Ship, Richard Saperstein, who produced Frequency, and Brian Whitten, who's producing the Creepshow TV series. Now, Jared, that's 4 producers. There are also 5 co-producers, 16 associate producers, 13 exec producers, 2 co-exec producers, and a line producer. That is a total of 41 producers.
Right.
That's fucking ludicrous.
Yep. I mean, it seems to be a movie that has a smallish budget.
Yeah. I know the budget.
41 people handling all that. So.
And the box office does not cut up well with 41 people, I can tell you now. The screenplay is by Jason Rothwell, who wrote Polar. It stars Malcolm McDowell as Sheriff Cooper, Jamie King as Aubrey Bradamore, Donald Logue as Santa Jim, and Brendan Fair as Deputy Jordan. The budget was $5 million, and the box office worldwide was $130K. So those 41 producers have come out short.
I mean, you're able to break that up in. You just take your wallet.
Yeah,
here's your share.
Okay, you've made a couple of $100.
Jesus Christ.
All right, okay. The film was partially inspired by the real-life Corvina holiday massacre, which took place on Christmas Eve in 2008, which is a mass shooting that took place in the US. All right, Jared. I don't know what these guys were trying to do. I'm assuming this is supposed to be a kind of quasi-remake of the original Silent Night, Deadly Night.
They were probably trying to make more than a few $100 each.
No, they were. I mean, fucking can't even buy Christmas presents for that.
Yeah, sorry, kids, we're short this year because I fucking invested in the movie.
Silent Night did not go well. I don't know what they're trying to do, but they failed dismally to recreate some of that campy kind of enjoyment that original Silent Night, Deadly Night kind of has. And really, all they end up doing is just it's mean-spirited, it's poorly directed, it's kind of a mess, and there's some truly terrible acting. I mean, Malcolm McDowell is just shocking in this. He is.
I'm sure we'll get into that.
The only positive is some decent gore effects.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's 1 out of 5 for me.
A 1?
Yeah.
Shit, I thought I was going to be rough.
You know what? I remember telling you that this was okay.
Yeah, you did. I recall that too.
I must have watched this one.
Yeah, because I recall that, and I sat here with a scowl on my face through the entire 90 minutes going, what are you talking about?
Okay. What about you? How do you feel?
No, I'm a bit dirty on it as well, because not only did you say it was alright, but I'd read pretty positive reviews. The buzz in general seems to be kind of middling. I was just sort of like, I don't know how it even got there, because I'm very low on it. I just find it to be, as you said, there's a mean-spiritedness. It kind of doesn't know... Well, it's got portions in the kills where it's a bit over the top, and that's where some of the fun of it is, to be honest. But then they mix it in with trying to be a little bit sore, a little bit Rob Zombie, that I don't think fits at all. And also, the dialogue, the acting, it's all pretty subpar. I just found nothing in it to grasp onto. There was nothing... I mean, I heard, one of the better remakes and all this sort of stuff. I completely disagree. And I don't like to kick 41 people that put their hard-earned into this, but I think it should have been more of what you said, a bit of the goofiness that we now watch the original for, even though it wasn't necessarily aiming for that.
Look, if somebody walked out and said "Garbage Day," I would have loved it.
I was waiting for a time to get shit-faced or something like that. I was just hanging for it. And they do, the closest they get is a couple of times with Malcolm McDowell, where it's clearly just, some cheesy, silly stuff. But even then, the writing's not good enough to be truly invested in it.
McDowell can't even pull it off. That's the worst
I was a 1.5.
Oh, 1.5. Shit, you've been probably a little more generous than I have.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. All right, straight into it. The gore is plentiful, and it's put together well. So the effects people should take a bow and receive a bonus. I don't know where they'll get it.
Afford it. I'm going into the red. It's fucking red Christmas now.
Stephen C. Miller, get it out of your own bank account and gives them a bonus because...
Yeah, fellas, the best I can do, you can have a 6-pack. You can split
I've got some
six up.
coupons in my wallet here because the gore effects are well handled. Like, they do a really good job with that.
Yeah.
And that's... probably par for the course for this type of film, But it also looks mostly practical.
Yeah, there's definitely
There's a couple of little...
There's definitely some CGI.
There's a little bit of CGI in there, but not much. So the gore is practical, which I'm happy with, and it's quite heavy duty. There's plenty of it.
Yeah, pretty solid.
You're probably going to disagree here, but I actually think Jamie King's quite likeable. And I actually find her useful in a Final Girl capacity.
Yeah.
Similar to what she did in My Bloody Valentine.
Her performance isn't awful, and I mean, look, I've got a pretty low bar for dialogue and things like that. I'm not going to groan very often. But there was a couple of groaners here where I was just like, oh my God, everything she's saying is exposition. I nearly fucking vomited when she's in the kitchen with her dad and it's just exposition. Oh, the crossword. Let's fucking do a crossword. That's our character development. Yeah. Oh, because, me and Dad, we're close. We do the crossword every morning. And I'm just like, if that's all we can muster, we've got some problems. And unfortunately, that was all they mustered for anyone for the entire movie.
Correct. But I don't blame her for that.
No, I don't blame her. And in general, we're talking bang for buck. The cast is bang for buck.
Well, it's
she's
best
all
she
right.
can get for $5 million.
Donald Loge is good.
Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell, I mean, I hesitate to put him in the likes, but he was once a quality actor.
He was once respected, Jared.
Once respected.
And when I see him in this, I think to myself, you worked with Stanley Kubrick.
He shouldn't have been the sheriff. I think they just put him They got a hold of
fucking
him.
rummy Santa.
They got
He would have been perfect.
They got a hold of him, so they put him in as big a role as they had.
Yeah, whereas to
'Cause
me,
he's
the priest. He plays the priest role in my
Yeah,
book.
something like that. He would have been perfect for. But the sheriff, he's just like, okay, yeah.
I'll get to it in the dislikes, but some of his shit, like, we talk about groaners from her, like, her
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
but fuck, there's a couple of scenes where McDowell tries to explain why it's not this bloke as a killer. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
All right, what else we got? Donald Logue. He's the only other actor who kind of understands the stupidness of this, you know, and kind of modulates the performance to be a bit of a, you know, he's a dildo, this bloke.
Yeah.
And he kind of embraces that. Again, he's only on screen for what, 10 minutes, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Logue, so he's kind of almost a cameo. The only other likes I had were the gore effects and deaths. The bloke getting electrocuted, his eyeballs flying out of his head.
Yeah.
It was a nice little way to start.
Yep.
Look, I also give a slight like to the opening credits. I thought there was a bit of a creepiness to it. Him sort of preparing to get dressed, and you've got that woman all tied up and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we really found out what happened to her. Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, she was chopped up into small pieces.
Yeah. I think, look, there was parts of that I was okay with, but there was just the grimy aspect of it that I just think didn't really need to be there. I mean, it's grimy enough what you're doing to people. Doesn't need to look like we are in fucking Jigsaw's latest warehouse.
Yeah.
Fitted out with the help of 150 people.
Remember, Jigsaw's still alive, Jared. Don't sleep on Jigsaw.
Oh, I mean, yeah, what? He's only been cut up himself. But anyway.
Well, he's only had half a dozen terminal illnesses as well, if I understand.
I can't wait for that.
Tobin Bell's going to die before Jigsaw does.
Yeah, that's true. That probably will happen.
Okay.
So I got a small like out of, and I think they actually should have done this more, but using the seasonal stuff for a couple of the kills, like the Christmas lights being what he's being electrocuted with, and, you know, chasing the girl through the Christmas tree lot and stuff like that. Should have been a little more of that for my the
little asshole girl getting stun gunned and then fireplace poker through the stomach was very well deserved. And I don't usually say that about killing children on film, but her opening remarks to her mother, all I could think of was, let's hope she gets fucking killed. And thankfully they delivered for us on that front.
Yeah. I've actually got something around that comes to a negative in the end, but yeah. That's all my likes. I got nothing else.
And the last one for me is the smut peddler getting his sack cleaved in twain, Jared.
Yes. Yeah, that was pretty good. He seemed to be, I mean, there was definitely some separation from between his feet and the ground, surely. Old mate was curling him on the end of a fucking scythe. Jesus.
I like the fact that he's still alive.
I know.
I mean, fuck, if my sack's been cleaned in, I'm not getting back up.
The last thing I'm thinking about is picking up my gun. I'm thinking about holding my testicles inside the bag.
Yeah, I'm looking for another bag to put them in.
Yeah. I mean, if I've got a torn satchel, I need to I need to tend to that first.
I'm playing dead.
Exactly. Well, I'm attempting to play dead, but I think I'm going to be given away by my...
All right, that was my last like.
Yeah.
All right, straight into the dislikes. Direction, Stephen C. Miller. The fuck, I thought Shaky Cam went out years ago, although this was 2012. Oh, you can't see what's going on. Like, that he uses a shaky cam technique. I'm not really sure why. Like, usually you use your shaky cam for action films.
Yes.
You know, during that period.
As Scotty Adkins put it, you did it so that people like Matt Damon who weren't martial artists could be made to look like martial artists.
Yeah, that's right. But this, it's just shaking all over the place, and then to add to that, the colouring of the film is all washed out, and it kind of has this grimy, kind of ugly look.
Yeah.
And put those two things together, you just get... You get nothing, Jared.
You get a lump of coal. That's what you're getting. But I thought, The look of it for me was just all wrong. I just don't know why it had to look so grimy and gritty. Like, it's not far from looking like something like Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I thought looked great. Like that neon-soaked kind of vibe. This has got elements of that, but it's got the grime to it, and it just doesn't look right.
Well, that's right. Christmas Bloody Christmas it leaned into it, and this does lean into it too, a little bit later, another one of my dislikes.
Yeah.
But Christmas Bloody Christmas did it in a way that almost accentuated that stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't leach the colour out of everything else.
And it really stands out, like the part where he's chasing the girl in the lot.
Yeah.
Like when you get shots of her for an extended period, you look at her and she looks grey.
Yeah, she looks like she's sick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everything about it just looks like shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to... I didn't have as many problems with the direction, but you're right, I don't appreciate that kind of... the shaky cam and all that sort of business. Like, I think there's better ways to try to ramp up the tension and the
Stephen C, where does he sit?
Well, I mean, after watching Escape Plan 2, as well as the...
Oh, you're the one.
Yeah. I own it.
Oh, shit. So Stephen C. Miller, that's how he gets the money out of his wallet to pay the effects people.
Yeah. I sold it one copy this week. Yeah, look, I wouldn't put him high on the list. He can get the job done. I don't think the direction is the biggest.
No, it's not its biggest problem, but it's not good.
No.
My biggest problem with the film for me is actually the fact that it's trying to tread this fine line between what seems like classic slasher, like that kind of fun element, with this kind of gory saw, and you pointed it out before, Rob Zombie type of take, more serious take, which doesn't gel. Like it would have been better if you were aiming more in the fun slasher realm.
Yeah, and I think you would have got more out of characters like Donald Loge's his character, like his rant. Yeah, you get a bit of mileage out of that, but you add like a full blown comedic kind of spin on his stuff. I reckon it works way better.
But also,
I could be wrong. I'm not going to put $41 people's worth of dollars on that.
But you know what though? It also takes away some of Malcolm McDowell's bad performance. It kind of adds this kind of campiness to it.
Yeah.
So I think they went for the wrong. I actually think they went for the wrong style and approach. I think that's one of the problems with it.
And I think it's in this.
It's too serious.
It's in this category of film, and I hate it when I see this in reviews and stuff, where it's like, oh, well, the violence is the most important part. It's actually not. Like, it's good to have that over-the-top violence. It adds an element to it. But that's not the most important part. You still need to have a reasonably kind of... Yeah, you still need to have some snappy dialogue and things like that going on.
Coherent
stories.
That's useful.
It's just, I think when all the focus is on that and you give a film a pass for getting that right, it's kind of... It's
not a pass for that.
No.
Like, that's the additions to the other things. And the problem with this film is that the other things aren't very good.
Yeah.
This town has had half a dozen gory murders in one day. And you're saying, we don't want to bring in the FBI? We don't want to bring in any other external law enforcement?
I mean, looking at the size of the squad, you've had more murders than you have police in the fucking town.
And they didn't even fall on the back of that McDowell was dodgy or something. That's why he didn't want the FBI sniffing around.
Yeah, and I think, look, it was clear that he was sort of incompetent.
Yeah.
I mean, the best part of his performance for me was when she goes, that name's got another S. He goes, what? Turns around and adds to them. Well, I got a laugh out of that. But yeah, I agree. And also, we spoke about this. I didn't necessarily have it in my dislikes. But why the fuck is the town full of Santas? Like, there is...
Well, they make mention of this parade.
The parade.
But no one says why everyone's dressed as fucking Santa.
You've got to make me believe. I mean, look, the way that you're talking about the town and the way that the town looks by the small of it, you're not getting enough people there.
I know.
There's going to be about 20 people in the streets, let alone a fucking 150 Santas walking down the street.
When they show it looks like fucking Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
There was more Santas than
people there.
Yeah, I just think.
But all you needed was like a fucking throwaway news report about how everyone's pledged to dress up as Santa or some shit this year.
Because they play it like, as I said to you, it's like
who could it be?
But they play it like
Santa.
it's the fucking, like those little local Elvis festivals and shit like that. Like, this is the Santa version of it, so that all the Santas from around the joint turn up. But like, the town, the perception that we get is that that's not really the place where this sort of stuff goes on.
No, it's a tiny.
But as you
town.
said, if they had given me a little bit of context and, this is
just a
little bit of context.
30-second throwaway.
Yeah.
Even if it's a line by the cops or, or a news report or something that kind of explains, well, they're doing it for charity or something.
They don't even mention, they probably kind of tiptoe around it, but, it's the busiest time of the year. We got all these people coming into town for the fucking parade. They don't paint it like that.
No. And on top of all that, Jared, Santa, our killer, his suit seems to be always clean. Even after you cut a guy's sack in half, shit flies all over the joint.
There's a little bit of something.
He only ends up covered in gore after he kills the priest, but then he seems to be clean again.
Yeah. I won't hold that too much against him because that's a pretty standard thing for them.
It just makes it even harder to cop. Because you got all these problems, but then, and it's the reason why you don't swallow the little problems.
I guess that's
because the
right.
big problems are there.
Yeah, when you're copying, when you're enjoying it, and you get little problems, you kind of run with those things. But when there's other problems, and when everything's a problem, you just kind of you just pick up.
Well, case in point, Friday the 13th Part 3. When Rick's getting his eyeball blasted out and fucking every man and his dog's getting, this 3D shit going on and all that, I don't care that Jason's a rapist. Or an attempted rapist, let that go.
Still got slight issues with that.
I've got issues, I'll let it go though.
You're right. I recall watching that after having not seen it for a few years and copping that first instance that suggests that again, thinking, what? I don't remember this. Because you're right, you get other things that kind of take your attention away from that.
But you get a laugh out of that stuff, so you can forgive that shit. Or not forgive it, but you can slightly forget it for a little while. And then when you bring it up, you go, what?
Oh, yeah, what a stupid idea.
A rapist. What are you talking about?
Speaking of bad stuff, we talked about the dialogue. So I kind of mentioned my worst example of it before, but it just seems like for the opening, every time someone's saying something, it's kind of just unnatural, sloppy exposition.
And it's just big dumps of stuff, like boom.
And again, it's the same old thing. When other things are working all right, you can accept it. But when it's just like front and center, and you're still looking for something to latch onto, it was just so noticeable.
Well, again, comparing this to Christmas Bloody Christmas, it works better because the dialogue feels like it's kind of like ad lib. Yeah. It's just two people talking and shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And that works better because it's only a 2-character piece. For
that had its own problems with, the extent they went to the pop culture conversations and stuff like that and trying to make it kind of cool, but I enjoyed it way better than
and so this one, the dialogue's just incredibly bad.
Mm. Oh, I have to talk about Malcolm McDowell on his own. Talk about debasing yourself.
We talk about paychecks, but this is a $5 million picture, so it was a small paycheck.
Yeah.
It's not even a big check to get you on. Malcolm, you could get, based on your reputation alone, you could get work on higher profile projects, smaller roles.
Yeah.
Than this shit.
I don't know. It's not.
Just his opening salvo when he tells us that Officer Jordan's MIA, and then basically kind of tiptoes around the fact that he's out getting pussy.
Yeah. What does he? He goes, he called whiff of something that he liked. Meow. I'm like, Malcolm, come on.
If you're going to be a scumbag, do it all the way. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it. And you should have the clout to tell Stephen C. Miller, no, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like, we'll try it this way. I get the feeling that take 2 and 3 weren't exactly available that often.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, as you mentioned, I recall the days when we hear that Malcolm McDowell's being cast as Dr. Loomis and we think, oh, that's pretty exciting.
I was very excited.
Now, these days, we're thinking, oh, God, Malcolm, stop doing this to yourself. Because there's still the hints of a fine actor in there somewhere.
You're a reputable actor. These days, I mean, watching this performance, you can kind of see hints of Dr. Loomis in it.
Yeah.
Just that kind of asshole-ish character.
Yeah.
The way he kind of treats her when he rings her the first time. You know, it stinks of that character that was in the Rob Zombie Halloween films. But, I mean, you're better than this.
Yeah.
Malcolm, or are you?
I never needed to see him tiptoeing around the word pussy.
Oh, no, come on. You hit that thing straight down the line, mate. You know, it's right up in the block hole. Put it out. The priest. Talk about shit actors.
Yep, as you said, just come straight out with it.
His performance is it's broad. It's
broadly shit house.
It's broadly shit house. And I think they're trying to paint a red herring. Is that fair?
Well, I think they're trying to toss someone in there who's just immediately scummy. It's like, I mean, just get your hand off me. Get your hand off my shoulder. Anything I can do to help you.
I can't even do it properly, Jared.
Oh, man.
Even I feel dirty trying to get that across. But I think
his overacting worked when he got killed. Like when he got his fingers cut off and he's kind of howling and carried on. That was entertaining. But as you said, the way he portrays kind of, I mean, no wonder the church is empty. I mean, fuck, anyone with half a brain that walks in and sees you kind of stand there going,
standing at the pulpit and fucking putting us through the shit. Because that sequence there was terrible. Like, apart from his death, the rest of it was he's just ranting and raving. It makes no real sense of anything. And it's another one of the problems that the film has. It constantly keeps trying to come back to, Christmas is a dark time. Yeah. It does it 3 different times. They do 3 different monologues.
Yeah.
One by the priest, one by Donald Logue, and one by that fucking other idiot Santa that we also think might be the suspect.
Yeah.
And all of them, it's just like...
We never really think he's a suspect.
No, really. Because according to Malcolm McDowell, after you've killed 5 people, you don't roll into a bar and buy a burger.
Well, as I said to you, if I've just had a workout and been curling a whole man by the sack and lifting him off the ground, I need a little bit of protein or something.
I mean, you know that he's eating a plant-based burger when he can't lift someone by the sack.
I am having seconds, actually.
Oh, yeah. You hit me with another burger, will you? I've got more sacks to fly later on.
That was some of the top-notch profiling work. This is why these idiots needed to call the FBI, because she was tossing out stuff like, the brutality, it must be personal. I'm like, I'd like some psychological backup. I'd like a profiler to back you up on this one.
You're a fucking deputy in bumfuck. The last time I checked, the FBI handled all that, didn't they?
I mean, you're working on hunches, let's be honest.
And let's be honest here, Jared. If you look back at the history of that, people were sceptical.
Yep. And
so, when you don't have the backing of the FBI to say, well, I've put a profile together, you don't really put it together, do you?
And when you get down to it, she was terribly incorrect. It was very impersonal for all the people that actually got killed, down the stretch.
They didn't even know the bloke. But the other problem with that was, A, she was wrong, B, they keep trying to have this kind of like redemption story for her. But then they kind of pivot again at one point and say, you're not up to it.
Yeah.
But
I think they were right.
It kind of flip-flops.
Yeah, it does.
Like, why would you... And then she says it's the first time since Josh left or someone. And then doesn't he come over? He's one of the Santas?
I think at that point I was fucking drifting out of things.
Well, shit, I didn't know what was going on either. So one of us should have watched it.
I was trying to watch, but I'd hit that point where
The glazed.
they bored me a little bit.
overlook.
And so I was attempting to play. I was listening to the words, but in my head it was hey. I was out. I was trying, but I was just I'll get to. I think the last one I've got on my list, other than the fact
Mine was
that
the donkey with the flies buzzing around its head.
Yeah. That's me. That's usually me. This time the donkey was a little bit active, but it was just not paying attention to the movie. And this, like, coming down to it, this is probably one of the biggest problems I had with it. Is that okay? I get that everyone that gets killed deserves it, according to what the film is sort of portraying them as. And I understand that that's, it's the whole naughty list idea, and it's, it's the remake aspect of the naughty and all this sort of shit. Like, you're looking at these behaviours that you deem to be unacceptable and killing the people because they're on the naughty list. But that sort of leaves no one to worry about or be concerned about or some stakes, I guess.
Yeah.
You're not worried about any of them because they're everyone that we...
Well, let's be honest, Jared. We're all on the naughty list somewhere, aren't we?
Of course. We've probably all done something stupid
I mean, but
to
based
get us on the naughty list.
on Israel's naughty list, I'm afraid.
Like,
on brother Israel's list.
according to Israel, I'm the fucking devil.
Yeah, well, I must admit, when I go to your church these days, I feel a little bit warm.
Start to cinch up a little bit. I think it's like well, looking at his list, it's like, drink, check, fornicator, check. It's like all this stuff. Well, technically I'm not anymore.
Like, is it quality fornication? Because, fuck, I argue.
If we're talking about time spent on fornication, I'm probably pretty low on the list.
Yeah, fornication numbers, like, is it minutes? What the fuck? Like, I need to know the actual detail.
Yeah, we're talking cumulative total. I'm still probably only triple digits here, Israel.
Yeah, no one's exactly leaving out of their skin to talk about it. So really, I could lie to you, Israel, and tell you I have no
I dare you to find someone who'll admit it.
Oh, you get some evidence.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But the other thing about that is,
Well, you don't.
outside of basically everyone outside of that list, everyone outside of the people that get killed are either on the police force, so you're kind of putting them in the category of on the nice list without actually showing, as you said, shows one of them fucking taking a bribe or doing something like that. Or they're one of the suspects in the Santa suits. So we kind of get left with no one to fucking care about, really.
Exactly.
Except for Jamie King. And we kind of get the sense very early that she's the final girl, so there's a kind of...
Can I ask this
really
question?
concerned about it.
Why is everyone a scumbag? That was the other thing. That's what reminded me of the Rob Zombie angle, is that there was not a likeable character here.
Yeah.
Even Jamie King, because they shortchanged Jamie King, she doesn't really get to do anything.
Yeah, I got that sort of... It was that... It just felt like that time when it was kind of Rob Zombie was at the forefront and Saw was kind of at the forefront, so you get hints of both of those where it's just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why everyone else had to be... Because basically, as you said, everyone was on the fucking naughty list anyway. So it's just,
Can I ask, why did we kill the mayor? What had he done?
Well, he's probably, Mayor Quimby type,
he's
so he's
cooking
probably
the books.
cooking the books or something. But as you said, the take for me is everyone's on the naughty list. And it's just a matter of this guy...
Well, the old lady in the church, wasn't it?
No, well, he gives her a bit of cash and walks off. But what I'm saying is, doesn't it work better? And that's kind of the only time it really balances that somewhat. Isn't it just like it should be that this person... And this is what happened in Silent Night, Deadly Night. Is that he observed, when he observed that behaviour was when he fucking lost the plot. And so I think they probably should have gone a bit more with that. That everyone really is on the naughty list in some
I cannot believe I'm going to say this. That Silent Night, Deadly Night from the 80s is better plotted.
Fucking oath it is.
So why didn't you just take the same approach and then kind of just jazz it up a little bit like what they did with Sorority Row, for instance. Is they kind of took the basic bones and then just kind of not classed it up, but they just made it better. Like they it was better sort of written.
Yeah. I guess
I think it's because the people involved weren't capable of that.
I don't know. What do we know? Because the reviews were fucking reasonably positive. So,
well, maybe
I don't know whether I'm looking at something. I read one on, I think it was on Bloody Disgusting, that was fucking, I would call it glowing. And I'm just like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. My last dislike was the red and green tinged footage in the cop shop.
Ew.
What in the world were you thinking?
Mm.
And how does 41 producers not go, well, this is shit.
It doesn't look great.
Stephen, stop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think one or two might have said, oh, can we think about reshooting that? And the other 38 to 39 were there going, oh, well, the money's already spent. Oh, look, we need that cash by Christmas.
Exactly. I've got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Just for me, it wasn't... That footage was awful.
Yeah, it didn't
because that could have actually been a bit of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
But because the colouring was so bad, I couldn't really see much. And there's actually quite a decentish shot where she's sort of moving around with the shotgun, and then he comes out behind her, running at her.
Mm.
And it would have looked awesome because if it had been like darkness with the fire in the background, and he comes into the fire, but of course it was tinged in green.
Yeah.
And it looked like shit, man. It was just awful.
What were your thoughts on the reveal?
But I'd given up caring.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less. Like, when I finally get revealed, what's the point of all the Santas then?
Well, it's the whole thing about, like, I mean, it gives you the small hint. And, again, when you look at it, it's basically the same place that the original was coming from, but you removed all of the stuff to try to give us a whodunit to it.
Yeah. And you get...
Which is okay. It's not...
You do get an explanation when she says to him, my father was a decent man, and then you find out why her father was killed.
Yeah.
Because obviously...
Which, again, it puts him on the naughty list when he was doing the right thing, which is where you should be playing with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you should have played with it a little more with the other killings, I think. So... But yeah, I just like you ended up in the same place. Like you've changed. There's a few moving pieces there, but at the end of the day, it's the same structure as the first one when it comes to that.
Yeah,
it's the kid that was sort of traumatized and whatnot. So
and my last dislike is and I have to backtrack just slightly, but when McDowell tries to explain that I can't remember the bloke's name, the big guy who was eating the burger.
Carson.
He's our guy. He's our main suspect. And then she goes, I don't think so. And she throws a few things out. And then he uses an analogy of putting hummus on a burger or avocado on a burger as some way to explain you want it simple. I was just like, fuck it, Malcolm. Like, who came up with this? It just, none of it works. It's really clunky. And his explanations for this, how this person is the killer, it just make no sense. So I think by that stage, the film has kind of run out of ideas or run out of anything extra to add.
Yeah, a little bit.
And McDowell is basically just fumbling around.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Did you have anything else?
No. I think that was pretty much it for me.
All right, that's Silent Night. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at Thrill Me Podcast AU. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for details of the next film, probably another Christmas one or something of that nature.
Possibly.
If we can slip it in prior to Christmas.
Or if we can, find 3.5 hours to watch Avatar somewhere. You sound enthused.
Yeah. All right. We'll see how we go on that one. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.